Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into how to pick the perfect setup for maple tapping season. And here's a spoiler. The smartest choice? It's probably not the biggest or the most expensive one you can find.
Okay, let's just pause on this for a second. This quote right here, this is everything. It's the key to not making a bunch of expensive, frustrating mistakes. It's not about the gear you have. It's about knowing your setup so well you can run it without a second thought, especially when the sap is really flowing.
So let's dive into a really common scenario. Maybe this is you. You get a piece of land, and hey, it's already a running sugar bush. The lines are up, tanks are there. It feels like you've hit the jackpot, right? But this is where a hidden trap is waiting for you. And this is the trap. You just assume that every single spile, every line, every bucket is there for a really good reason. So you don't question it, you just follow along. And the biggest mistake you can make isn't about not planning enough, it's about not slowing down to ask why things are the way they are. And this really gets to the heart of it. You have to choose clarity over just, well, doing it how it's always been done. One path leads to confidence and smart choices. The other, it's a fast track to frustration and probably spending way more money than you need to.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty, buckets versus tubing. We're going to look at the main ways to collect sap, because honestly, the real debate here isn't about which gear is the best. It's about what actually fits your reality, your time, your land, and let's be honest, how much you can stand cleaning stuff up.
So you've basically got three choices here. You've got your classic buckets, you've got gravity tubing, and then you've got these hybrid setups. It all boils down to a trade-off, really. You're balancing simplicity, how efficient you want to be, and what your specific piece of land looks like. Okay, here's a super simple way to think about it. Just look at the chart. If you've got, say, 5 to 30 trees and you're just getting started, buckets or bags are your friend. But once you get up to 60 plus trees on a nice slope and you don't have a ton of time to spare, yeah, tubing starts to look really, really good. Look, each of these has its pros and cons, for sure. Buckets, super simple, cheap to start. But man, that daily collection and cleanup, especially with frozen lids, is a killer. Gravity tubing saves you all that walking and gives you cleaner sap, but you've got to plan it out and have the right slope. And hybrid systems, well, they can be great for tricky terrain, but you might just end up with double the cleanup and double the things to think about. All right, let's talk about the real cost of sap collection, because it's not just about what you spend on gear. Not even close. The real cost is measured in things you can't buy, like your time, your energy, and your sanity. You see, these systems don't just scale up smoothly. They hit breaking points. With 10 or 15 trees, walking around with buckets is kind of fun, right? No big deal. But jump to 40 trees, suddenly that daily collection is a real chore. It takes serious discipline. And once you're over 100 trees, honestly, the brand of your gear doesn't matter nearly as much as how smart your layout is. Now, this is really interesting. When you upgrade, you're hoping everything gets easier, but look at what actually changes and what doesn't. Sure, you might get a bigger yield, and you're not lugging buckets around, but the fundamental work, the cleaning, the constant monitoring, dealing with those freeze-thaw cycles, that stuff doesn't go away. And that leads to this, which is such a critical point. People often upgrade too early. And why? They're trying to escape the discomfort of their current setup, not because it's actually inefficient. But here's the kicker. Upgrading out of frustration usually just makes your problems bigger.
And man, this one hits home. Cheap setups rarely fail because they cost too much. They fail emotionally. The real cost isn't on a receipt. It's that feeling of burnout when the cleanup is just too tedious and things keep breaking. That's when a good sap run starts to feel like a punishment, and that's when you're tempted to just give up. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. I want to share a piece of wisdom that completely reframes how you should think about all this.
There it is. If your setup makes you dread checking sap, it's the wrong setup. It sounds so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. This changes the whole goal. You're not aiming for maximum efficiency anymore. You're aiming for a system that's just workable, one you don't hate using. So how do you put that into practice? You build your system for the worst day in March, not the best one. You know the day I'm talking about. It's cold, it's sloppy, you're tired, and your patience is basically zero. Is your setup helping you on that day, or is it just another thing to fight with? Okay, so now that we have the right mindset, let's get super practical. I'm going to give you a simple 5-step plan to get you from feeling confused to feeling totally confident in your choice. It's this simple. 1. Count your real number of trees, not your dream number. 2. Look at your land for what it is. 3. Be honest about how much time you really have each day. 4. How much cleaning can you actually tolerate? And 5. Set a hard budget. If you answer these honestly, in this order, the right choice is going to feel, well, obvious.
But what if after all that thinking, the right move is to do nothing at all?
Seriously, there are so many good reasons to just keep it simple for now. A crazy schedule, trees that are kind of all over the place, an uncertain budget. These aren't failures. They're just signs that now is not the time to add complexity. You know, sometimes progress isn't about buying new gear, it's about mastering what you already have. So here's a little gut check for you. Don't upgrade if you skipped collection days last season, or if cleanup already felt like a mad rush, if you're still figuring out your sap flow, or your boiling schedule is all over the place. Just wait. If any of these sound familiar, adding more stuff is only going to make things worse. The best time to upgrade is when your current system is just running like a well-oiled machine. A smart upgrade should feel logical, it should feel necessary, and honestly, it should feel a little bit boring. If it feels like this exciting rush decision, you're probably just reacting to frustration, and that's when you make mistakes. And if you remember one thing from all this, let it be this. Consistency beats capacity. Every single time. A small, simple setup that you run perfectly every day will give you more than a giant, fancy system you're always struggling with. So that leaves us with one last question for you to think about. Is your system built for your best day, or is it built for your worst? The answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know about whether you have the right setup, or if maybe, just maybe, it's time to make things a little bit simpler.